Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Mayakala. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this, but I just wanted to bring out a few verses about the miracles that Yahawashi performed. Reason being, because there's a lot of people who don't think that Yahawashi performed miracles while he was here first time. And I don't even know if this group still exists, or this camp is still out there, but I'm not going to mention a name. But there's even a camp who out there that teaches that Yahawashi didn't perform or didn't do miracles. The first verse that I want to bring out is John chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Yahawashi by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher from the Most High, for no one can do these miracles that thou doest except the Most High be with him." So even though Nicodemus was one of the Pharisees, Nicodemus happened to be one of the Pharisees who believed in Yahawashi. And even though he snuck and came by night to visit Yahawashi, to speak with him and to learn from him, he did know and witness the miracles that Yahawashi, or some of the miracles that Yahawashi did. So, and because Yahawashi did so many miracles, there's only, I'm just going to go over a few, maybe 3 or 4 that he did, but he performed so many. I mean, there's so many that's written in the scripture. But I'm just going to cover just a couple of these, and then that'll be the end of the lesson, because it's going to be more miraculous than anything that he did before when he returns on that cloud or on that chariot, when he returns in the day of the Lord to take down this place that you call America. All right, it's going to be even more miraculous than when the Israelites left Egypt and passed through the parting waters of the Red Sea. All right, so I'm just going to cover just a few of the miracles. I'm going to go to John chapter 2, staying in the same book. And I'm going to start at verse 1, and you can see it says, the heading says miracle at Cana. It says, "And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Yahawashi was there. And both Yahawashi was called and his disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Yahawashi saith unto him, They have no wine. Yahawashi saith unto her," and in the red letter, this is Yahawashi speaking, it says, "Woman, what have I to do with thee? It says, my hour is not yet come." And I want to read that verse in the NLT, because he was he dealt very harshly with his mother at this point. He says, "Dear woman, that's not our problem." Yahawashi replied. He says, "My time has not yet come." So this would have been among the first miracles that he had performed. All right. I mean, you can see even himself is saying that his time has not yet come. So he didn't want to reveal the power that he possessed. And I'm going back to the KJV, verse 5 says, "His mother saith unto the servants, Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firkins apiece. That's about, and as you can see it right there in the NLT, it says about 20 to 30 gallons. All right, but I'm still reading in the KJV. Verse 7 says, Yahawashi saith unto them, fill the water pots with water, and they filled them up to the brim. And he saith unto them, draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called to the bridegroom, and saith unto him, every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse, but thou hast kept the good wine until now. So he's saying that most of the time people bring out the good wine first, all right, and then when everybody's had a good taste of the good wine and is having a good time, getting that good feeling from the wine, it says then that's usually when people bring forth the wine that is not so good, that's a little bit cheaper, so nobody could tell, would know the difference because they're already feeling good. All right, so that's one of the among one of the first miracles that Yahawashi performed. And it's I want to stay in this same book and bring out another one of the miracles, John chapter 4. And I'm going to start at verse 46. And you can see the heading there right above verse 46 says, healing a nobleman's son. And it says, so Yahawashi came again into Cana of Galilee, where he made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. And you know what, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to read down a little bit. Verse 47 says, when he heard that Yahawashi was come out of Judea into Galilee, he went unto him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. So this nobleman had heard of the miracles that Yahawashi had performed. Verse 48 says, then said Yahawashi unto him, except ye see signs and wonders, ye will believe, ye will not believe. The nobleman saith unto him, sir, come down here, my child die. Yahawashi saith unto him, go thy way, thy son liveth. And the man believed the word that Yahawashi had spoken unto him, and he went his way. So even though the nobleman had not even been gone and witnessed or seen that his son had been healed and that his son was okay, he believed Yahawashi at his word. He believed Yahawashi said that your son will live. All right. So he, after just hearing the word from Yahawashi that his son would live, the man believed and he went on his way. Verse 51, as he was now going down, his servants met him and told him, saying, thy son liveth. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to amend. And they said unto him, yesterday at the 7th hour the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in which Yahawashi said unto him, thy son liveth, and himself believed, and his whole house. This is again the second miracle that Yahawashi did when he was come out of Judea into Galilee. So Yahawashi was beginning to get his miracles were preceding him. They were going into Galilee, and already it being one of the second miracles that he had performed in Galilee, it was going forth that Yahawashi performed miracles. All right, and you know what? Let's just take a look. I'm just gonna Google miracles. And this is according to Google AI. It says, according to the Bible, a miracle is a supernatural event where the Most High intervenes in the natural order to perform extraordinary acts that transcend physical laws. These acts, often termed signs, wonders, or powers, serve to authenticate the Most High's messages, confirm his message, and display his power and glory. All right, let's see. I'm gonna check something here in the Apocrypha and the Salaki. I'm looking in my other phone because I don't have the Apocrypha on this phone that we're looking at. All right, let me gonna go on. Salakia for that. All right, I just had a few more that I'm going to bring out. I'm going to go to Book of Mark. And chapter 1. And I'm going to go down to verse 23. Okay, this is Mark chapter 1, verse 23. It says, and there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Yahawashi of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee who thou art, the Holy One of the Most High. And Yahawashi rebuked him, saying, hold thy peace and come out of him. So he's speaking to these demons that were in this man, all right, because he's going to heal this man and rid him of the demons. So verse 26 it says, and when the unclean spirit had torn him and cried with a loud voice, he came out of him. And when they were all amazed, insomuch that they questioned among themselves, saying, what thing is this? Thou new doctrine is this? What, Salakia, what new doctrine is this? For with authority commandeth he even the unclean spirits, and they do obey him. And immediately his fame spread abroad throughout all the region round about Galilee. So with these miracles that he was performing, a lot of time Israel has to see signs, has to see things right before their eyes before they begin to believe. All right, and with these miracles being performed right before people of Galilee, his reputation began to spread. His fame began to spread. His name was being exalted at this point because of the miracles he was performing. And that's just like our people. A lot of times we have to actually see these things before we believe. All right. And like I was saying, that there is even some who, even after reading these words and reading the words of the scripture that documents where he had performed miracles and the miracles that he did perform, there's still people who, and like I said, a certain camp that's out here that'll go out and say that Yahawashi never performed miracles. All right, it just shows their unbelief. All right, they're not real believers. All right, I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 8. And the heading here says Yahawashi cleanses a leper, the centurion's faith. Verse 1 says, when he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper, and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Yahawashi put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Yahawashi saith unto him, see thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. All right, and that's what he cleansed. He cleansed him of the leprosy that was plaguing him. But he didn't even want him to go forth and tell anybody. All right, he just wanted to perform this, and he wanted to make this man, take away this man's uncleanliness. All right. And if you wanted to know about what leprosy is, and because I've gone over leprosy before in previous lesson before, so if you wanted to know more about that, you can always go and look in the book of Leviticus, chapter 13. And I'm going to stay right here in the book of Matthew. Drop down right here. I'm going to stay right in chapter 8 here. I'm going to drop down to verse 23, because this chapter has a few miracles that he was performing. All right. And verse 23 says, and when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea. So it was a great storm that was being brewed up in the sea. It says, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. So even though there was all this was going on, Yahawashi was calm. Yahawashi was on the ship sleeping. Verse 25 says, and his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he saith unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? So they were marveling at the fact that even the seas and the winds and the conditions had changed just at his commanding of it. All right, and he brought about the great calm. So many miracles were performed by Yahawashi and witnessed. All right, and the last one that I'm going to bring out is going to be right here, staying in the book of Matthew, chapter 17. Verse 24 says, the heading says the tribute money. All right, this would be a tribute. This would be a tax. Verse 24 says, and when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, doth not your master pay tribute? So they're asking Peter, does Yahawashi pay taxes? Does he pay his taxes? Verse 25 says, he said yes. And when he was coming to the house, Yahawashi prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom to tribute? Of their own children, or of strangers? Verse 26 says, Peter saith unto him, of strangers. Yahawashi saith unto him, then are the children free? Said, then are the children free. Verse 27, and this is in the red letter, so this is Yahawashi speaking. It says, notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea, and cast an hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up. And when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. That take and give unto them for me and for thee. So he had Peter to go and catch a fish, and out of this fish was the money that he was going to pay the tax for both himself and for Peter. All right. I like to just read that in the NLT. It says, however, we don't want to offend them, so go down to the lake and throw in a line, and open the mouth of the first fish you catch, and you will find a large silver coin. Take it and pay the tax for both of us. All right. So Yahawashi, he wasn't carrying around monies in order to be able to pay tax, but he didn't want to offend those that were in authority who were asking, does he pay a tribute? Does he pay a tax? So he simply had Simon go and gather a fish, and out of that first fish that he caught, he took out he arranged so that there would be a silver coin in there that would pay the tribute, that would pay the tax, showing that Yahawashi did make sure that he was doing what was expected him for those who are in positions of authority. All right. But I just wanted to bring out just a few of miracles, of the signs of Yahawashi that he performed. All right. Because like I said, there's many who don't believe, even though these things are recorded, these things are documented in the scriptures, that he performed these signs and these wonders. All right. And but I'm going to leave it there. And I pray that this has been edifying to the listener. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rahah HaKadosh. Shalom.